Think about it, should you pick up a penny? Hi, I'm Dylan. If you're also a nerd fighter or a CGPGrey or an XKCD reader, then you're probably well versed with the narrative that the penny is worthless. For those of you who aren't in the know, basically pennies are deemed worthless because they return less value than they offer. They cost more to make than they're worth, they're not accepted in many places, they're not worth enough to buy anything substantial, and the time you spend fiddling with pennies is worth far more than the coin itself. All of this is true, but maybe it doesn't matter. People crave the spectacular. If you've ever played Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag or seen the best movie of all time, Pirates of the Caribbean, then you've probably regaled in the rapture of buried treasure and maybe, just maybe, even entertained the notion of seeking it out yourself. And you're not alone. There have been countless famous and extravagantly expensive hunts for buried and lost and sunken treasure. There's the 300-year ongoing search for Captain Kidd's famed treasure that made its way into Poe's Goldbug and Rousseau's Treasure Island that has actually most recently resolved in the discovery of his ship, the Merchant pronunciation, which was discovered off the coast of the Dominican Republic in 2007, but no gold. There's a search for the legendary Aztec gold, Montezuma's treasure, there's El Dorado and King John's lost treasure, and the treasure of the Flor de la Mar, and the Faberge eggs, and the Amber Room, and many more. Substance rarely comes from these ventures, and often more money is spent on finding the treasure than the treasure itself might actually be worth. Especially in the case of the treasures that don't actually exist. A narrative that anybody can find gold, however, is reinforced time and time again by people who just happen to stumble upon it, as is the case with the big gold find in California in 2014. A couple out walking their dog stumbled across a rusted can sticking out of the ground. Upon digging it up, they found 1,400 rare, perfectly preserved US coins dated from 1846 to 1895 that had a market value of over $10 million. But most expeditions for gold cost gold, or they cost your life. You end up being the creepy old dude on the beach with the metal detector, or dying in the search, as with the Oak Island treasure, but more on that in a minute. Almost all treasure hunts are without resolve. Finding lost treasure is akin to winning the lottery. Pennies are deemed useless because they don't return enough value. They cost our time, but they don't cost us any money. Well, at least not on a person-to-person level anyway. Lottery tickets return zero value for almost everybody, yet we still spend a ton of time and money on them. This doesn't make the penny better, it just makes it better than a lottery ticket. And if you say that a lottery ticket is better than a penny because it at least gives you a chance to win big, you have an equally ludicrous, and I mean this, ludicrous chance of picking up an ancient penny that would fetch you quite the pretty penny. In this sense, treasure becomes worthless. If you ever did find some, it would obviously have worth, but pennies on the ground represent real value right away. While that value is very little, it is higher than the value of something that you're never gonna find and probably doesn't exist anyway. In fact, if you do find treasure, both the United States and Scotland have treasure trove taxation laws which can take up to half of your findings. Nothing takes the fun piratey bit out of treasure hunting like taxes. This isn't just about pennies though, and while this won't make you rich, it certainly won't bankrupt you like a treasure hunt might. Unless you're Matthew McConaughey. That dude is in a lot of treasure hunting movies. There are $44 billion in unused gift cards just lying around. 44 billion! J.K. Rowling's only worth 1 billion. Every year, 10 trillion frequent flyer miles go unused, totaling an estimated monetary value of $10 billion. Every year, that's over 3 Oprahs in frequent flyer miles every year. There's an estimated 2.9 billion kilos of pennies lying around on the ground in the UK alone. That's $100 million. And there's a woman in the UK who was able to survive for a whole year on nothing but picked up change. Wishing wells pull in over $4.5 million every single year, which is not at all dissimilar to the legend of Lake Guatavita, which is widely believed to be the source of the El Dorado myth, in which the Muisca leader would cover himself in gold dust and row out to the middle of the lake, only to wash off the gold dust and throw golden trinkets and jewelry and gems into the lake to complete the ceremony. The lake has since been drained several times and excavated and dug up, yet no hoards of gold, let alone Golden City. While not being exciting or flashy, there is billions of dollars worth of unused currency just lying around. Money that can solve real problems. With the supreme interest in finding lost currency, it's a wonder that we haven't started looking in our own homes. Pennies don't return large enough value for rich people in rich countries, but they might for people in poorer countries. Instead of picking up pennies to line jars in our closets, all pennies should have an easy way to be transferred to a charity for people to whom it would help. Think of the wishing well. There is no regulatory board, yet they're bringing in some pretty serious money. Some contribute to charity, others go to the upkeep of that fountain, and others, I'm sure, line someone's pockets. As much as I revel in the idea of having wishing wells everywhere that magically transfer their donations to the poor of the world, we need an effective way to transfer all the unused currency that we don't even want to people who might. Pennies, unused gift cards, whatever. At this point, it doesn't even matter if the penny fails at being a coin because it doesn't easily facilitate the exchange of goods and services, because you're giving all that money to somebody in a lump, not penny by penny. Canada's own Oak Island is the best example of the insanity of the treasure hunt. The treasure site was discovered in 1795 by some guy who just happened to think that maybe someone buried treasure there. And ever since, it has become the most excavated treasure site to have yielded no treasure, cost $20 million, and has killed 6 people. And if you believe the History Channel's The Curse of Oak Island, the 7th death will unlock its mysteries. Any volunteers? The theories as to what lie inside include Captain Kidd's lost treasure, Blackbeard's treasure, the lost gems of Marie Antoinette, generic Spanish gold, Shakespeare's manuscripts, the Holy Grail and the treasures of the Knights Templar, and many more. But really, come on guys, there's nothing in there. They've dug so far. We have gold in our homes that we don't even want. We're throwing it away for false wishes and for false gold, for false hope, rather than giving it to real people for real hope. What do you guys think? Do pennies have worth after all? Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, be sure to click right on my face to subscribe, or at least think about it.